From the Green Party, you just stated that you've seen racial hatred in the country. Could you please specify where that hatred is coming from?
How can you discuss the drivers of anti-Semitism without reference to radical Islam that encourages discrimination? By discussing the subject, they meant dancing delicately around the subject so they could claim to have discussed it without ever having discussed it.
Not quite sure what you mean. Do you mean from the general public or...?
BBC host Fiona Bruce knew exactly what the audience member meant, which is why she had to try so hard to pretend to not know exactly what the audience member meant. Over it all was the unspoken agreement. We'll discuss anti-Semitism in abstract, provided no one asks where it actually comes from. Because naming a problem in modern Britain is often considered more dangerous than the problem itself.
She said there's racial hatred in the country, and I'd just like to know where she thinks it's coming from.
There is a rise in racially motivated crime, that kind of thing. There's more and more hate crimes. There's more reports of people feeling uncomfortable, unsafe.
Yeah.
There's more
division.
division.
You said there's racial hatred. Where do you think it's coming from?
What are you getting at exactly?
To find someone to blame. And I think that there have been narratives. Zia's party is definitely one of these narratives, like the people propagating these narratives, that will point the finger at certain communities to blame them when it is not the fault of those communities. So I actually think that the economic situation, which is disastrous at the moment, is a big reason why hate's on the rise.
Maybe she has a point. A cited paraphrase of George Orwell. Socialists don't love the poor, they just hate the rich.
It's a theory so breathtakingly reductive, it almost achieves a kind of accidental brilliance. Why grapple with ideology, culture or belief when you can blame inflation? Why examine who's committing acts of hatred when you can simply gesture at supermarket receipts and call it a day? And yet this is precisely the kind of explanation that allows serious problems to metastasise. If hatred is merely an economic side effect, well, it requires no moral confrontation, no intellectual honesty, no willingness to challenge the ideas that sustain it.
Diagnose as prejudice. Denial is compassion. Maybe it's just the left agenda?
Because clarity is now regarded as the only extremist position.
UK police have charged a 45-year-old Somali-born man with attempted murder after he allegedly stabbed two Jewish men outside a synagogue in London last week.
So every single siren that goes past, thinking, has there been another fire attack on a synagogue? Or has something else happened? Because it's becoming expected.
We don't really see a future here. This seems like it's the beginning of the end for Jews in London.
Let's go to the next virtue signaling. Voter-based, economic illiterate.
Instead of tackling the real drivers of affordability, Mamdani is using these inflated benchmarks to justify more subsidies, more departments, and more government intervention.
Let's continue.
2023, I was Home Secretary after October the 7th, yet hate marches were taking place almost every week. Hundreds of thousands of people were chanting jihad on the streets of London. They were firing flares. They were scaling the war memorials. And as Home Secretary, I got exasperated, to put it politely, with the Met Commissioner. And we were approaching Armistice Day. Another hate march was planned for Armistice Day. I was urging the Met Commissioner to ask for those to be banned. The Home Secretary has the power to ban those marches only if the Met Commissioner asks her to. And he didn't do that. I didn't get any support from any of my Conservative cabinet colleagues. Rishi Sunak, Kemi Badenoch, all of them ran a mile. And I lost my patience and I blew the whistle. And I went public about the failure of the Met Commissioner to police the hate marches, the failure of the Met Commissioner to tackle anti-Semitism. What happened? Instead of backing me, a Conservative Prime Minister sacked me.
This man was assassinated by Volkert van der Graaf, a left-wing environmentalist and animal rights activist. And he was murdered by Mohamed Bouyeri, a Dutch-Moroccan Islamist. This is the future. And this. For those who don't recognize this statue, it's of Lenin, the biggest commie.
Let's welcome my next guest. He is the Chief Executive of the Campaign Against Anti-Semitism, Gideon Falter. Welcome, Gideon.
Hi.
Now, before we talk, sorry to do this to you, but I was just going to remind you of a few words that the Prime Minister has just delivered after finally visiting Golders Green.
People are scared. Scared to show who they are in their community. Scared to go to synagogue and practice their religion. Scared to go to university as a Jew. To send their children to school as a Jew.
Gideon, well, whose fault is that?
Well, it's the fault of successive governments.
It's the fault of this word, welcome, and the left-wing lunatics, those who call themselves socialistic. Do you think that in a democratic society, the voter base that makes a difference are illegals or minority groups? No, it's the leftist idiots. Let's go back to the video.
And then they go through all the cliches that you have to endure every time something like this happens. This is not who we are as a country. We stand with the Jewish community and to ban the IRGC. So just do it, Keir. How about that? As you say, Gideon, while you're at it, ban the Muslim Brotherhood as well. About these pro-Palestinian marches that snake through our cities every weekend. Because I've been to a few, I don't know if you've ever been, but they're called pro-Palestinian marches, but they're Jew hate marches, and so many people involved in these protests break the law. I mean, they're shouting, you know, globalize the Intifada from the river to the sea.
In the Netherlands on the 4th of May, the victims of war, especially the Holocaust, are commemorated. It is a significant and sensitive subject, with a deep emotional meaning. But what do the compassionate and virtuous of all people do? Just watch. How insensitive. Dear, not really, governments of all Western countries. You messed up, in a big way. Your political agenda and socialism made you win the elections. Your own people are paying the price. Your stupidity caused the following: a decline in safety, civility, freedom, economics, Western culture, nationalism, and stability. You will be remembered as the biggest losers in history. In the chapter about the perished Western society. And I'm being kind. I know, it's hopeless, so let's just go to the next day. On the 5th of May, freedom is celebrated. And of course, there you have it, the Antifa. It's unbelievable.
Antifada. We are fed up of these pathetic political platitudes that they wheel out time and time again. We want to know exactly what is going to be done.
Please like and subscribe if you want more content like this. Thank you for watching.